This is wanting to point out something that some of you may or may not be aware of, right? See if you're feeling like this at the moment, because I'm going through it, but mine is bipolar mixed with what's going on at the moment. So I know the signs. I've had it for years. But you get to the point where I can't be fucked with my job. I'm not really looking forward to food. I can't be fucked to go out. What's the point? I'm not interested in looking for a missus on a dating site or anything like that. What would be the point? You'd probably only fucking look like, or you'd end up meeting some fucking idiot that'd do your head in. YouTuber throttling my views. What's the point? Nobody bothers anyway. And all of these negative views. You know what it is? It's depression. Now, I'm always going to have mine. It's not going to ever go away, and you manage it and it comes and goes. But for me, it's a lot easier than it is for somebody who doesn't understand about depression, because I've handled it for years, and you just go through cycles, and you know, the time of year will not help. All right, so the clocks have just gone back. It's dark in the morning, it's dark in the evening, the weather's shit. Obvious things, right? We're all panicking about what's coming. We're worrying about Christmas. Are we going to be able to afford it or not? Are we going to have the heating on? We've got all of those worries. If you listen to the news and you watch the news, that will bring you down. That's why I got rid of my TV a long time ago. So people say, did you see the Christmas advert? Well, no, I wouldn't. I haven't got a TV. But at the moment, I put on the radio for 2 seconds and it's doom and gloom. But literally, there is so much going on at the moment. So if you feel yourself that, you know, there's nothing wrong, but you just can't be fucked, or you don't really want to go and see your mates today, or you can't be bothered to go out and go for a run, or you can't be bothered to do this, or you can't be bothered to do that. You know, standing up against the system, what would be the point? Nobody else is. Well, it's a fact, nobody else, or very few people are at the moment. But, you know, somebody has to make the effort. What I'm trying to tell you, though, is if you're feeling a lot of these symptoms, you could be depressed and not even know about it. And I've got to be honest, with the current situation, the current atmosphere, the vibe, call it what you want, it wouldn't be surprising. You know, I wouldn't say it's not your fault or it is your fault, whatever. I'm not there to judge, but just be aware of it. The moment you're aware of things like that, you can start doing more positive things to fight it. The other day, Saturday night, I put on a live stream. I was really struggling before I went on air. I was in my bed. I haven't been sleeping well. It's another sign of depression. And I just couldn't face it. But I thought to myself, there are a few people that do actually look forward to it. There are a few people that do like to ring in. You're going to fucking just stitch them up. And I was like, no. So I went on, and I have to say it was the best thing I did. It was positive because people picked me up as well as I picked them up. You know, it's a two-way thing, because the call-ins are great. I love them. And you get what I call the microwave and oven, microwave and fridge guy. He calls it loyally every week. He's brilliant, right? Comes in with what he's cooked this week. You also get the guy that sounds like History Debunked. He's always interested, and there's a load of others. And it does pick me up. But just saying, if you're feeling really neg at the moment, or you're being short with other people, or you can't face this, that and the other, you could be depressed. I'm not saying that you are, but I'm saying that there is a chance. So just be aware. And as I say, with everything at the moment the way it is, I wouldn't be surprised. But this is why I'm not doing a lot of content at the moment. YouTube have throttled what I'm doing, and I'm struggling with the negative side, because I'm no different to anybody else. But just like that, and without any warning, at some point I'll pop out the other side. And because I know I'm going to do that, and because I understand what it is, it's nowhere near as bad as when it first came on site, which was 20 odd years ago, maybe a bit longer than that. I think I was depressed in my teens, like 17, 18 and stuff, but they were going to have real happy times. But certainly towards 25, 26, going on like that, it was what it was. because I didn't know what it was, by the time I got to my 30s, it was horrendous. Absolutely. But when you actually find out that, yeah, by the way, you're bipolar and these are the side effects, and you need to start working out coping strategies so this black dog's not around for any amount of time, which it isn't these days, and I'm not medicated, so that says how much I understand my own body, how it reacts to situations, and you remove yourself from some of those situations that do it. I have to say that this job is a plus and a negative. The guy I work for, I can really give him some shit mucking around, and he does the same with me, and that's quite a comfort. And he thinks the same way as I do, and he's got zero fucks for political correctness or other cunts attitude. So if somebody rang in and said, by the way, you've got Reverend Simon Sideways working for you, you go, yeah, I know, now fuck off, cunt, and that'll be that, end of. So that's comforting. But I have to say, you drive around in circles. I did the same run 15 times yesterday. That can get a bit tedious, but you can't have it all. And I suppose what I like to remind myself of when I'm feeling like this is two things. It's something wrong with the way you're made, i.e., I don't know, whatever makes bipolar or whatever. That is something wrong with me, which isn't so bad. And the other thing is, all the time you're flapping about my emotions and how I feel and stuff over here, you're not some poor cunt that was in the trenches during the First World War about to jump out of the thing and get shot. You're not somebody who's struggling with cancer. You're not somebody in the third world that worries if his goat dies, that's it, game over. You know, we've got all first world problems, and that's all they are, really. So unless you're somebody who has a very serious medical problem with you, and for you, if that is the case, you have my complete sympathy, then we really should man up. And that's the last thing somebody down in the doldrums wants to hear, but sometimes it's the kindest thing that you can do, because that's what actually helped me, was my mate giving me some right shit. He said, fuck off. He says, there's nothing wrong with you. Oh, off I went on a flap. He went, no, you're not special. Nobody deserves to give you any slack, and you've not got anything physically wrong with you. It's in your head. Now, I didn't want to hear that either. But what he was trying to tell me is, because it's in my head, it's something that I can learn to deal with, get to grips with, understand, and by understanding, work out what makes it happen and trying to reduce all of those things. And I have. And I have to say, the most positive thing I've ever done. If I'd not got to grips with it when he was bullish, to say the least, right, I'd be dead today. I'd have taken my own life. Because there was one point in my life that I did get that stage. But because I didn't go to Scouts low enough to learn how to tie a decent knot, that didn't happen. Whatever. And you got to be able to laugh at it now. Because that's what the English do. We laugh at really black humour, because that's just the way we're made, and that's part of a coping mechanism. But the reason I tell you this is because people have set ideas about people on YouTube that people follow. They seem to think that, I don't know, they think we're made differently. We're not. They think that we can cope with all sorts of stuff. We can cope with a lot, but no, not everything. And anybody who puts anybody on a pedestal, and I'm not bigging myself up here, this is what I'm told by others, alright? There's a lot that don't, alright? So I get that. But there are people that do put people on pedestals. There wasn't a single leader or an artist, I would have thought, or somebody who was in any sort of position where people watched them or listened to them or looked up to, or whatever it is that they do, that didn't have their own issues. Now, some of the world leaders, good and bad, Churchill, issues, Yeltsin, issues, Lenin, issues, Stalin, issues, Hitler, issues, Mussolini, issues. There are world leaders out there now, issues. Most of them, actually, if you're a world leader there now. But these people, they might look strong on the outside, but they're not. But they just have to get to grips with it. What I'm trying to make out here, or what I'm trying to get to, is regardless of how shit you feel, just remember this: some other fucker at the moment is drawing their last breath today, would love to have your life. And when you look at it that way, you realise that maybe some stuff ain't so bad. And we do put a lot of weight into, that's massively overloaded, fuck me son. We do put a lot of weight into the materialistic things, what we want, what we'd like to have. Why can't we have it? Why can't we go on holiday? Why can't we do this? But that was all installed in you from a young age by the system itself to make you a good little learner and make you graft and make you strive for things that, to be honest, you didn't really need anyway. Be nice, but you didn't need them. But you start to believe that you do. In our lives, a lot of things will get us down, and they shouldn't really, because they're not really worth getting down over. And all of us will fall for that, because the way we're brought up in the Western world, especially in Great Britain, is that we should have this, we should have that, we're entitled to, we deserve. That's another fucking, you don't deserve anything. It would be nice, but nobody deserves anything. Life doesn't promise you tomorrow, it doesn't promise you the next hour. You went out there into the wild and asked a starling, I don't know, the seagull, what it thinks it deserves. If it could understand what you were saying, it'd look at you still strange and go, what the fuck do you mean? And this is the truth. We believe that we are due, that we should have a lot more than we have. And we should just be lucky. We've got air in our lungs and our body's still working. Everything after that is just a bonus. And that's how I get through. I remind myself I've got a few things going for me. My body hasn't crapped out yet. It might look a bit fucked on the outside, but it hasn't crapped out yet. Okay? I've got a roof over my head. I've got a job. I've got a car that gets me to work. But most of all, I've got a daughter who loves me. And he popped around with fish and chips yesterday. And what more do I need but my health and my daughter? I've lived in a van. Wasn't a great time, but I did feel like I was more in charge of myself then. Yeah. You can look at somebody in the third world, right? And they're beaming away, and all they've got is a few clothes on their back, a couple of animals, maybe a small holding, and they live in a mud hut. And they'll all get round and sing together, and they'll have a party together and stuff. And do you know why? Because they're just told, they understand just to be grateful for the very little they have. And they were never brought up to expect anything else. And the only thing you can expect is that you'll have to work for anything that you get. And they're alright with that. Because the Western world didn't poison their minds. They've got enough problems of their own over there. But yeah, we were taught to be unhappy. We were brought up to be ungrateful. And I suppose coming away from religion, many of you are agnostic or atheist, some of you are spiritual, some of you are religious, some of you don't have any views on it at all. But the one thing we did have when we were younger, when there was religion in the schools I went to, is we were taught to be grateful for what we had. And we were. But there you go. It's just a thought for the day, because there's a lot of people out there that are struggling at the moment. And if any of my words can have any effect, then that's a good thing. I would like to actually do some upbeat videos, but the problem is I don't know why people subscribe to me, whether it's for the outrage, like ranty videos about the bad shit that's going on, or whether they'd like me to do some funny stuff. I think I could just about manage funny, but I'm just thinking at the moment, this is part of the reason that the live streams, I try to, as much as doing the news, I try to give people a laugh, because fuck me, people need that now. And they want unpolluted humour, not this woke bullshit you're supposed to be laughing at something that quite frankly isn't funny. I think in the old days we had more straightforward humour. Do you remember the comedians in the 70s? You didn't get away with that today. When we used to look at some of the films, you wouldn't get away with a lot of it. I mean, you might not like him now, but remember Eddie Murphy when he used to do his stand-up? Richard Pryor did his stand-up. I mean, even Bob Monkhouse, he could be blue as you like. God rest his soul. But yeah, I like that sort of humour. Unapologetic. If it's funny, it's funny. But I think that we need humour, especially going into winter. In the summertime, you can go and entertain yourselves, get out there for a walk in the sun, hold hands with your partner, or I don't know, if you've got hobbies, get out there and spot stuff, and just generally the sun itself will help you out. But I suppose another thing, and this isn't being narcissistic, if you're low in vitamin D, go on a fucking sunbed. Occasionally, I'm not talking about it all the time, but just occasionally, try a sunbed out. That'll help. But look into the signs of depression and see if you are unknowingly struggling with it, because if you are, you can get on dealing with it. Now, I'm not expecting everybody to be jumping for joy at the moment, let's be honest. There's a lot to be pissed off about. But I'm still telling you, there's a lot to be happy about. Things could be so much worse. So just bear that in mind. I hope that this has not been too downbeat for you. I hope that there's some words of wisdom or whatever, but I've been struggling, so if I am you, you probably have been. You might not, I don't know. Some of you might be going through this with no worries at all, and if you are, good, excellent, that's what I want. Anyway, I'm going to get off, carry on, go around in circles, different run today, and I'll see you in a bit.